So a marketer last week was telling me that they're thinking about ungating literally all of the content on their website. And here's what I told him and why this is a bad idea. You don't need to necessarily ungate everything on your website, although you could do that. There is a way to have both worlds coexist. And the way to do that is to have gated pieces of content that are very high value, have all sorts of examples, templates, all sorts of things, but then find ways to get short form content built off the long form, get that into channels where people are hanging out so they consume the shorter form content first, which then leads them into the long form piece of content. And so often I think we put all the pressure on this big long form piece of content in a guide, an ebook or whatever, and we put that out into ads or organically or wherever, when really at the end of the day, no one's going to be really ready to actually consume that long form piece of content because they don't trust your brand. They don't know who you are. And so instead of leading with the long form content first, find ways to distribute that out into 10 smaller short form pieces of content, like little bite-sized, clips. They can be video clips. It could be a carousel, really any type of asset. It could be a quote, all sorts of different ways where you can get some of that content in there. Gong actually did this back at the beginning of the days when they had Gong Labs. They still have Gong Labs today. And they would literally create single image ads with the actual core insight. They could be taken away from this longer research paper on cold calling. And so you got a lot of the value just in channel without even clicking through to download the guide. But for those that did want to read more, it acted as a great hook. And so again, the idea here is not necessarily, hey, we have to ungate all of our content. The idea is to simply say, hey, how do we take the great gated content we already have today, or long form content if it's ungated, and how do we get that into more formats so that people consume it in those little bite-sized pieces? So think about that the next time you are going through the conversation of gating versus ungating.